The average American says they need to earn $233,000 a year to be financially comfortable. But in 2021, American workers on average made only $75,203 annually.
Americans are sort of looking at how much money they would like to have to be financially secure, and that ends up being basically 3 times what the average income is in this country. And to be essentially wealthy or really successful, it's magnitudes above that.
72% of Americans said they weren't financially secure given their current finances. And more than a quarter of Americans said they'll likely never be financially secure.
By the numbers, their debt is lower and their savings are higher coming out of the pandemic, but they're more anxious about what's going to happen next, if they have job stability, if they're going to be able to have secure retirement.
With well over half of Americans living paycheck to paycheck, many are failing to meet some of their modest financial goals.
There are actually millions of people struggling. It's not something that people want to talk about, but if you're in a place where your financial security feels super precarious, you're not alone. And it's not your fault.
So how did it become so difficult to be financially secure in America?
I mean, if you just, this has been going on for, a while in America. People were struggling. I mean, Joe Biden made it worse. I mean, COVID made it worse. And also, if you have higher inflation, that means, prices go up. And I mean, not everybody should be earning $200,000. It depends on the job. If it's a lawyer or doctor, a job that is very hard to do, then I would say, I think you should have $200,000. But if you're some McDonald's worker, then you shouldn't have $200,000, right? I mean, also they choose their career, so I mean, and also not everybody's gonna be a lawyer or doctor, so, and also taxes, so actually $200,000, if I believe it's look, I need to look into it, but I'm probably not gonna look into it, but taxes are another thing, because imagine the U.S. without taxes. It's gonna help the rich, the middle class, and everybody. It's gonna help everybody. It's gonna be beneficial for the country. And look, these taxes are going to bureaucracy, so I guarantee a lot of this stuff we're spending is not even stuff we're actually spending on. We're just spending it on some bureaucrats.
What can you do about it? Let's do some budgeting. Americans working full-time earned a median monthly income of about $4,400 during the second quarter of 2023. The average worker takes home 75.2% of gross wages after taxes and benefits, shrinking the take-home pay to about $3,308. And that just isn't enough to cover the cost of living in America today.
The cost of healthcare, that has skyrocketed. The cost of attending college has skyrocketed. The cost of purchasing a home has skyrocketed. But nowhere has anyone said wage growth is up 15%, right?
Take a look at some of the most essential expenses for Americans. The median monthly rent in the US is $2,029 as of June 2023. That amount already accounts for over 46% of the Americans' median pre-tax income. But most US agencies classify spending more than 30% of one's gross monthly income on rent as being rent-burdened. Meanwhile, the median mortgage payment for a 2,400 square foot house was $1,957 per month. However,
I mean, I'm not saying rent and mortgages are like this. I mean, you could split it with a roommate, the news wants to make it over, hype it up and say, oh, it's doomed. They always do that so they could get more views. $2,000 if you're making $70,000, that's pretty bad because taxes, if we didn't have taxes, then we probably wouldn't. I mean, probably a little bit, but not. No, I don't think it would be. Maybe a little bit, but like, no, I don't think so. But like, you have for mortgages, you have insurance and property taxes that could go up. So let's say the mortgage was like 2,000, it's up like 2,900 because of insurance and property taxes. And look, I mean, if you're making like $100,000, you're basically making like $50,000 or $60,000, right? And also, it depends. For like the mortgage, if you put a lot down, it's gonna be less. And not everybody. I mean, if you're making $40,000 a year in New York City, you're not gonna buy a house. If you live in Idaho, in West Virginia, then you could probably like buy a house. But I actually seen like houses there on this guy's video that were like a little expensive. So I mean,
However, a common rule of thumb advises spending 28% or less of your pre-tax income on mortgage payments. For the median gross monthly earnings, that translates to just $1,232.
As we talk to households and talk to consumers out in the real world, especially those, say, under 40, housing is the big issue. Rent, mortgage. It is the biggest concern that people aren't going to be able to make the next payment.
Inflation is really hurting individuals having stability in their housing. And I think sometimes we underestimate that if you have uncertainty in your housing, it causes uncertainty everywhere.
Also, you have roommates, so it's gonna make it easier for you to, live. Just like if your rent, like, try to find like a nice apartment. Like, there's I've seen like nice apartments like 1,500, and like, if you live in New York City, then you're not gonna get that. But if you live in anywhere else in the country, besides California and the blue areas of the country, I mean some blue states, but you could get like 1,500 rent. And if you have five people or like 10 people, then you could just pay rent like $100. Well, not 100, but if you have 14, and including yourself, 15 people, $100 like each month. I mean, that's like pretty. I mean, I'm not saying you're gonna like. You need to find people. If you know friends, then yeah, use them, so it can make your life easier. It's you could blame the economy, but it's your choice if you wanna be someone or just complain about it and say the boomers had it easier. I'm not saying they had it harder than now, but I'm saying is that it's your choice to get back up. And I know it's not gonna like be like you're not gonna buy a house at like 23, but you have to figure out something. You have to figure out something. You can't just blame the government or hope the government is going to save you, some president. It's not going to happen, right? So basically, you just have to, the only person, like, you have to do it yourself. No one is going to do it for you.
Housing is also the reason why cities have become more difficult to afford. Americans said it would require more than $1 million in net worth to be financially comfortable in places like San Francisco, New York, and Southern California.
This is why we've seen some migration or mobility around the country where some people say, I'm living in a high-cost state like California or New York. We really want to sort of pack up and go to an area that's less expensive. And one of the ironies of that is those places that were cheaper before are now becoming more expensive.
Americans spend on average $690.75 on food every month, according to the latest data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That amount is significantly higher than any of USDA's estimated grocery bills, including more generous and liberal food plans. Add the out-of-pocket health expenditures that cost the average Americans $96.42 every month, and you get a total expense of $2,816.17 for renters and $2,744.17 for homeowners. That amount already accounts for 85% of the median take-home pay for average American renters. And
I mean, it depends on your scenario. This is not everybody. I mean, somebody could pay like $500 of rent. I mean, that's only in like Mississippi, Alabama, where nobody lives there, right? But look, you're living in a different, let's say in New York City and Los Angeles, you're gonna at least I've seen on New York City, you're gonna pay a lot in rent. I don't know how people are paying rent in New York City. They have to have a lot of roommates. Even if you have $200,000, that's bad because, look, I mean, if you are making $200,000, you don't really want to rent. You want to buy a house because, get a house because that's going to go up in value. Rent, I mean, I'm not saying rent is dumb. All I'm saying is you don't really want to rent forever because renting, you're just giving someone money, right? I mean, a mortgage is that, but you're going to have a house going up in value, so you have money. Your net worth is going to go up. For rent, it's not going to go up, right? Because you're renting. You don't own it.
For 82% for an average homeowner. This is excluding other essential expenses like transportation, childcare, and debt payments.
Many Americans are really struggling with just the increase of costs of living and food and housing. Utility bills have gone up. Car insurance has gone up. Homeowners insurance has gone up. And how can they pay for them but also meet other goals that they have to?
Budgeting experts advise Americans to spend just 50% of their net income on essentials, 30% on wants, and 20% on savings or paying off debt.
We see that allocation shifting significantly where people are spending 75% of their take home just on needs, which leaves very little for wants and very little for saving for your financial future. So depending upon where you live and of course your income, many Americans really cannot meet that target allocation.
So much of managing your financial life in America today is like drinking from a fire hose. I think many households are not able to show up and impose a framework.
Look, if in New York General, I've seen houses that are $200,000 and actually look nice. They actually look nice. They're in a cheaper area, but let's say you have $80,000 saved up. I mean, if I was you, I'd probably just go to those areas of the country that houses cost $200,000 that look nice and just put the down payment on that and just destroy the mortgage, get work overtime and just finish off the mortgage. I would do that because if you really think about it, the house prices are in the blue air, really people living in there, the New York area and the New Jersey area, not the some of New Jersey, Bayonne, Jersey City, New York. I don't know how it's whatever. But those areas have high house prices, right? So if I was you, I would probably recommend you just save up a bunch of money and get a nice house, go to cause in San Diego, San Atio, it's next to Austin. I probably said the name wrong, but houses there are cheap and they look nice. I saw this house that is under $200,000 and is pretty nice. So I mean, go to those areas. And Austin, just drive there for work. It's not that, like, it's next to San Ato. I'm saying the name wrong, but so you're basically gonna have a high income. It depends on the job. If you're tech, I mean, I believe Austin is tech, right? I believe so.
Work of their own design onto their finances. Many are still in this reactionary space where they're just trying to figure out how to make ends meet.
Rates hit, and that can then exact a toll on the other aspects of your personal finances.
How do we properly address this so that people cannot be in the cycle of just focusing on paying debt and necessities, but can even think about transitioning to that other 20% and creating an emergency savings, which causes financial stability, or even saving for retirement, which is the goal of creating future financial stability in retirement.
The fact that many Americans are living in financial insecurity poses a big risk to the economy as a whole.
There's a reason why we measure and monitor very closely things like consumer confidence or consumer sentiment, because what populates those data points are everyday measurements like inflation and the strength of the job market.
I think COVID really showed us that households, when they don't have a level of stability and security, are actually the primary foundation of whether the economy can be strong or not, because we are so based on consumer spending in this country.
Public policy can greatly improve Americans' chances of achieving financial security.
So, for example, Social Security is the bedrock of most people's financial security in retirement. It's not the only source of their retirement income, but it keeps a lot of older people out of poverty. And we know that Social Security needs some reforms in order to maintain its same level of benefits. And then also...
Honestly, they should just stop with this whole Social Security. Like, they gotta stop this, because it's destroying, like, younger people. Like, unless they invest the money and just give you the money, like, that would be good. But, like, if, like, there's no... Social Security doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It actually doesn't. Right? So social, like, alright. So young people pay into the system for old people, and they get, like, it makes no sense. You can't just you only gonna get like $1,000. Like, you don't, like, you have to invest and save. That's what needs to happen. Yeah, we have to cut Social Security. We basically need to, like, get rid of Social Security, because it's actually destroying the nation. It's probably exploding the national debt. And also Medicare. Like, I don't want to, like, pay for your surgery. Like, I don't want that. And I checked, and it's like, oh, Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid are combined $3 trillion. $3 trillion. And people, and when people complain about the national debt, then look, I don't want to, give taxes to other people. I'd rather have people put the money into the market, and I would rather have that boost the economy, make jobs, businesses, the stock market, investing that. That's good. Not like taxing us more, right? I don't, like, want to pay taxes. Like, who wants to do that? Like, it's actually insane. $3 trillion. It's probably more, it's, like, insane. It's actually bad. It's like, and the national debt is, like, almost $40 trillion in debt. It's insane.
We can do to make sure that employers are offering any kind of retirement savings opportunities, emergency savings opportunities at work, offering employees the ability to enroll in benefits, whether that's health insurance or insurance for life insurance or disability insurance. Employers are a key part of this too, and public policies play a big role in terms of what employers can offer and at what price they can afford it.
The household's willingness to work toward financial security is also important.
Ultimately, the answer here is that solutions have to be arrived at the macro level as well as the household level. And so at some level, we all need to try to own our own financial success by managing our money as well as we can across the range of areas like emergency savings and retirement.
Financial advisors say the first step is to have a clear goal.
What do you want to achieve personally? What do you want to achieve at work? When do you want to retire? What do you want to do for others? And write that down.
But the key to success comes down to budgeting.
Everyone should budget. What we say is it's not what you earn, it's what you keep. And so think about and have some transparency of where is your money going. And then make sure the budget that you have aligns with the goals that you wrote down. If you say you want to retire early, are you saving more to retire early? If you want to put your children through college, if you want to be debt free, are you paying more on your student loans? Are you paying more on your credit cards so you can be debt free? Make sure that your budget aligns with your goals.
There are actually millions of people struggling. It's not something that people want to talk about, but if you're in a place where your financial security feels super precarious, you're not alone. And it's not your fault.
Many people who have really high incomes and a lot of savings still feel financially anxious. So don't feel like this is your fault or something to do with the fact that your income isn't enough. We all have to deal with this in different ways. And the most important thing you can do is just acknowledge that and deal with it and not try to avoid it.
Buy and subscribe.